What's good, people? We are back. Welcome back to the channel. We're back live. It's myself and Lee Judges. Adrian is going to be joining us in a little while. He's just on his way back home. We're going to be talking all things football, in particular, what happened at Arsenal. But I have to mention Manchester United and Spurs, the two teams that we hate the most by quite some distance, in my opinion. And Roy Keane, that is not how you play with 10 men. That's all I will say. We're going to talk on news on Calafiori because there are some suggestions that he got a knock and he looks like he could be out. In the chat, John saying he's out for the season. Not from what I have heard. Don't think it's as bad as what people are saying, but I have heard that he did get a knock and he could be injured. We're going to talk about yesterday's game. But Lee, first of all, mate, we've got to talk about Man United Spurs. I watched that a day with my mates, and my goodness, that is a ropey Manchester United side, if ever I've seen one. It was appalling. Tottenham destroyed them. I went out to 10. We'll talk about the red card. I want to get your opinions on that. And I want to get the opinion of Roy Keane, who believes that Arsenal playing with 10 men, that was not the way to do it. Well, was that the way to do it, mate? Man United down to 10.
Wow. Listen, sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut when it's not your team. And Roy Keane's put himself right in it there, and you know what I mean, by saying show a little bit, show a little. Well, they showed a little bit. They opened up a little bit. Within 1-2 minutes of the second half, they're 2-0 down. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. Don't it? You know what I mean? I know that was slightly different for them because they had to win the game, or they were a goal down, should I say? So they had to get back in it. But listen, there's no right way or wrong way to play against 10 men, is there? It's as simple as that. I don't think you can criticise either way if they want to go for it. Listen, they were pathetic, Manchester United. They're pathetic with 11. They made Tottenham look like well beaters, and we know that Spurs are not well beaters when we played them the other week. They're not a good side. They made their defence look really, really good. Their attacking players look good. And I'm going to say it now, as pains me to say it, because I've never known. And God, I hope we ever have that opportunity. Tottenham should be walking away today, coming back down the M6 and M1, 7-0 winners. They had enough chances to win 7-0. You know what I mean? My God, they were poor, Man United. And I'm not taking nothing away from Tottenham.
Didn't have Son either. Harvey says.
Didn't have Son either. Listen, taking nothing away from Tottenham, you can only beat what's in front of you. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this tomorrow. But I'm not dissing them by any stretch of imagination. Great win, but winning 1-0 at Old Trafford, 2-0 at Old Trafford, 3-0, under any circumstances, fill your boots and enjoy it. But my God, the likes of Roy Keane and Rio Ferdinand, don't you dare comment about Arsenal Football Club when your club is in that sort of state. It is unreal. Get your own house in order before you come going at us. You know what I mean? Because that is absolutely atrocious what I've seen today. I honestly think that when we was in our darkest days under Arteta and Arsene Wenger, I don't think we have been as worse as that. We certainly, of all the times as bad as we were down, we never got trounced by Tottenham. Maybe once, and that, we went down, funny enough, to 10 men in that game. But listen,
only time we've been trounced by them was when they did the 5-1 when we played the kids in the League Cup. Yeah. That's it. I ain't seen anything else up from that. So look, you're right. We've had some bad Arsenal sides, but that was atrocious. Every time I saw, even from the second minute, how can you let, and I like Van der Ven, I think he's a very good player, but how can you let your centre-back do that? Go right the way through your team and then square it to Brennan Johnson. It is incredible.
Oh, the NFL. It's like the NFL, he's running back, running through, you know what I mean? Unbelievable. And I tell you now, as a fan, I don't know how, Man United fans feel about this. I could be, even when we've been in our darkest days, you could turn around and go, do you know what? Mustafi, at least he tried. At least he put in a bit of effort. At least they worked, you know what I mean? I think probably that Arsenal against Chelsea. Remember we lost 6-0 to Chelsea. I was disgusted with the players that day. I've watched that game today, and you know, shoot me if you want to, Dan. Shoot me if you want to. There was a moment in that game when I thought, "Oh, go on in Spurs, go and get another one." Like, you know what I mean? Just because it was that bad. I can't believe I didn't want, like. Listen, Spurs. I can't. I'm not. I don't want to look at it like that. I'm knocking Spurs because I'm not. You know what I mean? They deserve to win and great and everything. But the abysmal Man United, all that money that they've spent, and I wouldn't take one of their players there. I would.
Nah.
One of their players would get into the Tottenham team, right? I'll be honest, not one of them would get into the Tottenham team. Not one of them would get into the Arsenal team. And not one of them would get in the Chelsea team now, you know what I mean? And this is a team that spent and spent and spent. It
I
is
actually think
unbelievable.
there's one player that I rate, Kobe Minu. The others,
Uh,
I don't get it.
he's good, but Dan, come on. He's only a youngster making his way in the team at this
Oh no,
moment
he's a
in time.
youngster, but he looks talented. My point is, he's
Yeah.
he's the one you look at, right? The others, I'm looking at what I'd take from the Arsenal lineup now. I don't want their goalkeeper, I don't want their back line. In midfield, you can make a claim for Kobe Manu to get into the Arsenal squad, but certainly not in the first 11. And then up top, it's an absolute shambles. I mean, people want Rashford. God, do me a favour. And then up top, that Xerxes. Who the hell is he they've bought? I mean,
Oh,
it is dreadful. And that Garnacho, I mean, he was overhyped to the hill, wasn't he? He's going to be an Argentinian Messi. Come on, man. Man United are an absolute shambles. And Tottenham, by the way, and I will say this, I don't care. I still don't think they're even that great. But today
no,
they were
no,
made to
no,
look
it
like
wasn't.
prime Barcelona under Pep. It's incredible how bad Man United are.
I'll tell you what, Cameron's in the chat. He's a Liverpool fan. You know what I mean? Like they had an easy win up there as well.
Big
They've
up,
played
Cameron.
two. They've played two decent teams at home. Right, two decent teams at home. They've lost 3-0 and 3-0 to them. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. It started raining again. You know what I mean? Everybody. I don't know if you see it, but I'm sitting there. They were getting soaked. Some of their fans free. Go home. Go
Yeah, I
home. You
saw
know
that.
what I
I
mean?
saw that.
They
Fair
don't.
play to them,
They
but you
don't
got
deserve. Yeah,
it's
fair
just
play to them, but they
incredible,
do
isn't it?
not deserve your support. I understand it if you're not better than the team, but you've got players out working you and all that. Come on,
Well, where do you think, real talk, where do you think they're going to finish, Lee? Because I have them at about 8th or 9th.
Well, unfortunately, they've finished quite high up than what they are because this cannot carry on. This cannot carry on. Do you know
You
what?
think he's going to get sacked
Yeah,
now, soon?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. I'll say this now to any Man United fan: you can have the Carabao Cup. Let them win that. Let them win that every year, if that keeps him in the job.
Yeah.
Let him have it. Let you fill your boots with the cup. You win a cup, because we'll have a free hit at the Champions League top 4 title and all that because they are a million miles from it. Million miles. They won the FA Cup last year, but that just shows you. And we've always said this: the best teams don't win cups. That. Man United prove that 100% that they don't. It is that I'll tell you what.
The thing is, right, people say to me, is it about trophies? Look, the game is definitely about trophies, 100%. But it's also about competing whilst winning trophies. Well, otherwise, you might as well just be like, a team like, let's just say, like a Newcastle, right? Who would absolutely love nothing more than to win a League Cup and come 15th, or Everton to win a cup and come 15th. They take the 15th to 16th that finishes, as long as they're doing that. This is Man United. They shouldn't just be doing that and then taking 14 losses in a league season. That is not Man United. I cannot believe how bad they are looking. And look, I would have sacked him last season. I've seen managers win trophies and then get sacked. Avram Grant, Roberto Di Matteo. One of them won a trophy. One of them close to winning a trophy in Champions League. One of them was a penalty kick away from winning the Champions League. The other one won the Champions League. Both got sacked because they weren't good enough to manage Chelsea. Right. And I know Chelsea's a bad example, but I have seen other managers get sacked before when they've gone, Jose Mourinho at Spurs. They just weren't happy, pulled a plug, right? They should have done that with Ten Hag, man, because he could have himself left and gone, do you know what? It didn't work out for me in the league, but I still won an FA Cup and a League Cup. I'm going to go elsewhere now. But they're clinging on to this manager, and I can't understand why. And I am praying, absolutely praying, that Gareth Southgate is their next manager, Lee. I am absolutely praying of everything that it is him, because there are rumours that they are looking at him. There is no rumours. It is incredible, mate.
Let's hope that it is Listen, they've lost 3 games already and drawn 1, right? I don't think Man City are going to do that all season. That's the, you know what I mean? So basically, like, we're now, you know, they're out of the title race already, like, you know what I mean? Like, in some sort of ways. And you know, if you was a Man United fan, what can you cling on to, right? Oh, like, well, we went down to 10 men and it was a sending off. Yeah, I'm going to get it right. I don't think that's a sending off, by the way. I don't think it is a sending off.
What did you think about that? Because he slipped, didn't he? And then
Like, it's a booking at the most. I think. I just think, again, it's a referee going too much in. Like, if you really look at it, he studs ain't up, he catches him on the back. Listen, Maddison made a meal of it. They made it look a lot worse than what it was. Not good having a go at him. He's been kicked. So you do whatever you do, a little bit of gamemanship, a little bit of the dark arts from Maddison. Can I say that it was a bit of dark arts from Maddison? Well, we all know what he done, but I look at it and I think, well, if that's a red card, what is the game coming to? What is the game coming to? Like, you know, that's a red card, right? And I'm not having a go at the ref yesterday because I thought that he let some things go for us yesterday. But when old Bruno gets home today, puts his feet up, he's going to have a 3-game ban, and he go and have a look at the one Skip does. You know what I mean? Like that's more of a red card than that one, Dan. You know, like the consistency is all over the place. Like, you know? So I don't think it's a red card. They say that it is. You all get all the excuses that it is, but listen, I think it done them a favour because I think that they would have still got trounced 3 or 4-0 with 11. They were a shambles, and like you know, I think it just covers it a little bit over. If you'll be honest, does it really? You know, they can say, oh, it was 10 men, but
I'll tell you why I'd be worried if I'm a United fan. Not just the fact of how they're playing. That was their best 11 out there today. They had their best goalkeeper in Onana, Mazraoui, who's been their best fullback, Dalot. They've obviously got Delix they've bought in alongside Martinez, who they say is the best butcher around. They've got Ugarte they bought in from PSG as the best butcher. Old Big Steve, big up shout out to him. He says he's the best. He's the he's the worst butcher since Fred Elliott.
That's quality. Well, I like that. That's quality, like that one. Comment of the year,
the worst butcher since Pat.
Ashley. I said Ashley.
The worst butcher since Pat Butcher. Honestly, it's incredible, isn't it? But look, they had them that they had Ugarte they bought in from PSG, Bruno Fernandes. They obviously had Kobe Mainu, Garnacho, Rashford, and Xerxes. Sorry, mate, that is a full Man United 11. Yeah, they bought Mount on, but he was fit. Højlund on, he was fit. They are playing their best 11, and they are a shambles of a team. And I tell you this. If I'm Manchester United, I want that Ten Hag gone tonight because there is no excuses in 3 years not to have a style of play. There is no excuses to be using the same players in the same way 3 years later. And every single time you speak to him, he says, I just win trophies. That's what I do. Sheer arrogance and delusion from him. And I would want, look, I as an Arsenal fan, I hope he stays for another season. Of course I do.
No,
he ain't going to. He ain't
for another 3 years. 3-year contract. You know what I mean? But get him in there now. You know what I mean? Sign on the dotted line. You know what I mean? Lovely. Sorry, he's having a meltdown outside Old Trafford. I hope he's all right. Sending out a message to him. I hope you're all right, mate, and you get home safely. Like, you know what I mean? Because he's completely he's completely lost the plot. You know what I mean? So
he's finished. But to be fair to Saeed, he's called him out for years now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
you know, he has wanted him gone.
Check up on him, you know, like, and see if he's all right. So, you know, let's get, you know, like, let's get some well wishing into him. Like, I hope he's all right. Like, you know, so. I understand he's still at the Old Trafford car park looking about. No, I shouldn't laugh. You know.
I love Saeed. He is absolutely class. But listen, big up to Suge, man. Big up Lee and Dan. Hit the like, subscribe. Glad to catch content, even if it's 6 a.m. in Australia. Love for the love. Big up to you, man. I really appreciate you being here as well at that time. Absolute legend for supporting the channel, man. Really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Big up to you, Suge. Look, Lee. Let's move. Excuse me. I wanted to start the show by talking about Nwaneri, right? Because I know we're going to go through the game and analyse it and all that, right? I want to talk about this kid for 2 reasons. One, I kind of feel like when I talk about him, I'm kind of doing two things. I'm saying he's great, but let's not put no pressure on him. He's fantastic, but let's calm down. And I don't know what one I'm at. I kind of feel like maybe I'm getting a bit overhyped because I have done it before. Fans do it, right? We get excited quite easily. But then I feel like it's justified. I saw him on Wednesday night and I thought he was outstanding. And then when he came on, I'm not saying he won us the game, but I do feel like he gave us a lift. And I think it
Yeah.
was exactly what we needed at the time. So I just want to ask you straight, where are you at with Ethan Nwaneri? I want to talk about him. I want
Right.
your thoughts on him. I want you to tell me how good you think he can be.
I'm really like I've been really interested because I was doing a Forever Arsenal this morning, and I said exactly that. I think he give us a lift, um, the stadium a lift. 17-year-old. I was on my knees at that stage, and I think it was like Havertz had missed that chance. I was it's one of those games we're going to lose the league over this. Is to come back and haunt us. Really, that he come on and he just energised me. He energised me with his performance. So that I'll go on it. I see a lot of people turn around and go, "Oh, people was pushing for Nwaneri to start now to have a dig at Arteta." Really? Certainly not. I'm backing Mikel all the way. So I don't know where that one's coming from. I'm just looking at him and I'm excited by him, and I want to see him contribute. And as I said, and I'll say it again, I did want him to start this game. Who did I want him to start in place of? Probably Trossard. Trossard come on and was key figure in the game yesterday. So Mikel was right, you know what I mean? So it's not having a go at Mikel in any shape or form that you want this kid involved and all that. What I see about Nwaneri is the nearest thing we've got to Odegaard, just creativity-wise and all that. He's 17 years of age. I'm not saying that you start him against PSG, but I'm looking at him and saying maybe against Southampton, maybe he gets a little game and a start in that game. I like what I see. I really, really like what I see. I see him in America, and I see him at Brentford. Made his debut at Brentford. Didn't really get much of a touch and whatever. But you're thinking at 15 to be given a Premier League start at Arsenal in the Premier League. Whew, you've got to be doing something, Dan. You just don't give them out like confetti, So So he's in the back of your mind. He's in there, and he like that he comes. So when he comes in America, right? Let's see how good he is. Oh yes, I'm impressed. Looks very, very good. Fortunate enough to meet him. Quite a stocky sort of. You wouldn't think he's 17, Dan. The way he talks and his build and stature and everything, you wouldn't think he was 17. And then he's to come on against Spurs in a heated battle there. Done his thing, I was really impressed with that little cameo there. Then you go, right, let's see what you can do against Bolton. It's only Bolton, but he gets 2 goals. People go, oh, it's only Bolton. But I tell you what, Dan, if he didn't play well in that game, they go, oh, well, he can't do it against Bolton. So he was in a no-win situation in that game, right? Because if he done well, that's only Bolton. Even though he's still 17 and they're a professional football club,
Yeah.
It's still standards. You've still got to get above that, which he did. He then come on Saturday, and what he told me was Saturday that was a pressure situation, 2-2. Lots of things could have gone wrong for us that day. He's ready now. That's up to Mikel when he puts him in now. But what he told me was he's ready, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, why have we got rid of Smith Rowe? Why have we got rid of Vieira?" Have you seen Vieira and Smith Rowe over the last season put in a performance like that when we needed it?
Yeah, great point. Great point.
I haven't. I see
Great
it
point.
yesterday. I see it yesterday, and so I'm going to back him. If he's not playing, I'm not going to get on the manager's back for it. The manager knows, he sees him in training and all that. But I do believe we've got a player here. I think that Mikel will manage him properly, just like he did with Saliba. When people criticised about that one, about Saliba, turned out to be the right decision. Whatever Mikel does, I do. But from a personal point of view, I don't know how you feel about this, Dan. I want to watch him. I want to see him play. I want to see this kid develop because I like what I see. And it does excite me as a fan. What he does and the way he plays and the way, the half turn and things like that, it excites me. And he's ours, 17 years of age. Love it. Bring it on.
Listen, that was a great monologue, Lee. I've got to say, I agree with every single word of what you've said. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to praise Mikel. I'll tell you why. I was calling for him to start against Leicester yesterday. I was. I think you and I both sat on
Yeah,
here and said, let's play him. I thought it was the absolute bang on right decision yesterday in the end. Not just because it worked out, it's easy to say, but actually you can see why. He's given him the chance at Wednesday. He's played well. He's got his brace. He will be absolutely fine not starting, Nwaneri will, because he still believes that he shouldn't be gifted just to start. Trossard started, played well, probably one of the players of the match, got the 2 goals that actually mattered. And actually, when you look at it, he was quite good on the ball as well, Trossard, right? Nothing spectacular, but certainly one of the better players. And when that, even though people aren't like you and I and have said, don't start him, bring him on, I think now that performance, that cameo performance, might actually allow people to think, yeah, I weren't sure that he's ready, but I think he is, you know. I know it was just Bolton, but he was better than Sterling, Rice, Jesus, Saka, all the others around him, in my opinion. I thought he was head and shoulders above them. And then yesterday, I see so much confidence. Some people might look and go, this is overhyped. He didn't do anything. Go and watch what he actually did do. There was 4 bits of play which
yeah,
I thought were really, really good from him. The first one, obviously, is the drive and the shot, where everyone thought, whoa, instant impact. The second bit is what he does in the box, and he actually looked quite similar to Saka, yeah, in terms of his agility on the ball in that moment. And there was times against Bolton where I saw Smith Rowe type of attributes in terms of his driving forward on the ball. I honestly think we've got a special talent here. And I've seen a lot of them, Lee, like you have, right? Over the years, you've seen more than me. When I was growing up at Highbury, I saw players come through that I thought, yeah, do you know what? This is an absolute talent. And they've not gone on to be anything. I've seen at the Emirates era, I've seen players come through like J. Emmanuel Thomas, Dan Crowley, Arturo Lupoli, and Quincy Owusu-Obey at Highbury, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe Willock, Smith Rowe. They've all come through, and I've always done the same thing. They look like they could be good. But this guy looks good already. And I haven't done that since the Bukayo Saka, Jack Wilshere, Ashley Cole type days. And I'm getting those sort of vibes. And I know it's early, but I really am looking at this kid thinking, you're going to be something special. I just believe it, Lee. I really do.
yeah. And do you know what the biggest point and biggest compliment I can give him is when you look back at certain players, Cesc Fabregas, you can go into that as well,
Yeah.
that he has having to come in and play when it's not Europa League. When Saka started, it was Europa League. So well, let's give him some Europa League games, and Smith Rowe Europa League games, Willock Europa League games. He's coming in when you've got to play Champions League games and challenging for the title, not challenging for top 4 or Europa League or whatever. He is coming into a squad and a team that is challenging for the league. So the levels are so much higher than what it was for Saka and those sort of guys. Even Fabregas, you know what I mean? Fabregas, yeah, I'd say Fabregas as well. Fabregas would probably come in at the end of the back end of the Invincibles. But he, you know what I'm saying? So for him to do that, and listen, when we're talking Fabregas, we're talking unique. At 16, have I ever seen a player as good as that at 16 with the vision of him? No, look how good he was, you know. So this is what you're talking about, the levels of it all. I don't want to go too overboard about it because injuries can be a thing, but Jack Wilshere was in that category as well, like, you know. Aaron Ramsey, I know he wasn't coming through the ranks, but when he was about 17, 18 playing, you think, wow, what a player he's going to be. So, and he's in that sort of category. And why not enjoy it and everything like that? But what I'm saying is, it from his point of view, is no one's putting pressure on him. No one, the manager knows what he's doing. But what I see yesterday was a kid of 17 years of age lift me and a whole of the Emirates. I think he did. He energized the Emirates by coming on yesterday for that cameo. And he was, all of a sudden, their players were thinking, oh, we've not only got to worry about Saka, who can take players on for, he takes on players with ease and beats them.
Yeah.
And, you know, so look, even if he's not starting, Dan, he's someone there that we know that, yeah, he's a squad player and a very, very good squad player. He's going to come in and contribute when he does. You know, it might be the next time he starts against Preston, I don't know. But when he does start against Preston, you know that one, he's going to do really well. And two, one of our top players is going to have a rest. You know, so he's contributing all round. I thought he was fantastic yesterday.
No,
Fantastic.
he was phenomenal. Listen, people, there's 500 of you in here. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Please make sure that you are doing that. If you can come and support my channel as well on Football's 12th Man, I would much appreciate it. Literally just dropped This Is London, where Dee and Lawless were both getting cooked, and I've got to say it was bloody funny. So please make sure you get over there. Aid, big up to you, man. Adrian, big up for coming on. I've got to ask you, man. Where's your excitement level at with this Ethan Nwaneri kid? Because we've just been speaking about some of the youngsters that have come through in the past. Lee's mentioned the names of Cole and Fabregas, and some have said, "Oh, calm down." But I can't. I'm really excited by this kid, man. What are you saying?
Well, it's probably similar to Lee because Cole and Fabregas were the young players coming through when I was growing up watching Arsenal. So he's a special talent. It's just I struggle sometimes because he's. I just don't want him to be overplayed. You know, look at what Jack Wilshere, what he went through. You know, and I think everyone will say if he's good enough, play him, of course. But he's left-footed, isn't he, as well, which is unique. And I don't know what it is about a left-footed player. They just
same. I love him. Yeah,
isn't they? They just you know, most players are dominantly right-footed, but this lad is left-footed. Such great close ball control. He's I mean, I'm trying to compare him to player, but he has that ability which I love watching. Is that he just glides past players, and it doesn't look like it, and it's effortless as well. It's and that's rare. He's going to be a special talent, and I just hope Arteta manages him well, unlike what Arsene Wenger did with Wilshere.
Yeah.
Because you know, I think Wilshere in that Barcelona year where he was outstanding when he held Jack Wilshere in that game, but I think he played 60 odd games that season and theoretically actually ruined him, didn't it, for injury. So I don't think he's going to do that under Arsenal because we're a different outfit now, aren't we? We're a better side than what we were back then. But well, he's hopefully saving us probably near on £100 million to replace Odegaard, isn't it? Which because he would be the natural replacement for Odegaard. I mean, what's Odegaard now? 24, 25, is he? Might be a bit younger. So yeah, I'm buzzing for him, and he came on yesterday, and he just gave us that little bit of young sort of. I'm not going to freeze under this. I'm just going to go for it, and he's going to have the ability.
Yeah, he was
fearless in there. And you watch him, and he doesn't look phased, does he? Doesn't look phased at all. A bit like Skelly the other night as well. You know, he's another one that no one's even talking about because we're talking about. I can't even say his name properly. What's it? How do you pronounce it?
Lewis Skelly.
No. Nwaneri. I can't say it properly.
Oh, Ethan Nwaneri. Yeah,
Nwaneri. That's it. Yeah, I need to learn that name properly. But yeah, buzzing for it. This is why he's let Smith Rowe go, isn't it? And he just I want to see him more now. I really do want to. And I agree with Lee as well. You know, when he does come in, he's going to give one of our bigger boys a rest. I just wish he'd kind of come on yesterday where it didn't have to change the game, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Having to get him to come on and not rely on him because it was a big effort from everybody in the end, wasn't it? But yeah, he's a special talent. We look after him. And he gets the minutes he deserves this year because he's going to get it. He's certainly going to get it.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. They need to contribute, and they're two kids that I think will actually play a lot more minutes than a lot of people were expecting. Judges, let me ask you, because I see you and Robbie going at it. You and I were having a chat about it. Obviously, the conceding goals at the Emirates and just letting ourselves down at home at times. And I must admit that I was kind of with you and then against you. I'll tell you where I was with you. You're right to bring up the West Ham, Fulham and Villa games last season. This was a bit different for me because I just felt like it was so dominant and we were so good. 37 shots, I think 17 on target or something crazy like that. There was absolutely no way that we didn't deserve to win that. Whereas I think with the other games last season, I don't think we did deserve to beat West Ham and beat Fulham and Villa. I thought we were poor in parts, wasteful in front of goal. I thought this time we were just so much in cruise control and still we found ourselves in this position. And I've got to say, even watching it back, I'm like, how? I mean, one was a worldie. The other one was probably poor defending, a bit lucky out deflects off of Havertz, of course. But I'm kind of thinking, why did we put ourselves through that? But at home, stats prove we ain't the same, mate. Like away from home, we look so much more resolute and solid, compact. At the Emirates, I don't know why it is. And I'm going to ask you that question. Do you think potentially it's because we get a little bit more excited? We want to entertain that we're at home. We open ourselves up a little bit in that way. Why can't we keep clean sheets? Because I honestly believe this was going to be quite a comfortable victory and keeping a clean sheet, bro.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Look, I did say like when we look back on this, I think I said it to you as well. You look back on this game, and I did look funny enough. I got in back just about 8:30 yesterday, and I thought, oh, they're bound to put the Chelsea game as the game of the night, the game of the day, and it was our game, so I thought, oh well, I'll sit there and watch it, and actually it was as I thought it was. We were so much better than them. Like the first half was fantastic. I think second half we got a little bit complacent, just switched off a little bit of complacency in it there, and also maybe just a little bit like one eye going on to Tuesday. I don't know, but I disagree with the game against West Ham last year. I thought that we had chance after chance after chance, and we got done on the counter attack a couple of times there. But other games I go along with. We've not actually played bad in any game last season at home, apart from the one game was Fulham away, which is the only time that I've walked out the ground disappointed with actually the way we played and gone about a game of football. But when you're missing chances, when you're not, or the goalkeeper's having a worldie, what you have to do is make sure you keep the back door firmly shut, so they don't have an opportunity. And what I see yesterday was a team that, what worries me a little bit, Dan, and watched the game yesterday. Why was it so different in one half and not the other? Right? And I think there was a little bit of complacency from us, but they changed. They sat off of us and put in their banks, and we played all around them. We was allowed to get on the ball. Partey was allowed to get on the ball, make his little passes, 1-2s, round the corners, triangles and things like that, all very, very pretty. Second half, they've gone, right, we're 2-0 down. We're abandoning that. Let's press them a little bit higher. Let's push them under a little bit of pressure. Let's see what we can get in their faces a little bit more. And they got in our faces a little bit more, and we conceded 2 goals. One a worldie, which we could have done a little bit better with. When I've looked back on it now, Partey should have got across a lot earlier. Calafiori should know where his man is at the back post. Maybe that's because he's not a left back, maybe centre half. I don't know, but he just got caught under it a little bit. Kai Havertz caught for the he drops off when he should be engaging. Just those sort of little things there, like. But this is a common theme with us, like, I mean, 2 goals against Leicester last time they come here, a couple of goals against certain other teams, and I just think at the end of the day, what you need to do at times, listen, I'll be honest, 3 or 4 are all talking at half time, boring half really, but don't matter. That's it. I take that. You need to get 2 3-0 3-0s now. I look at Liverpool, right, and people say to me, Dan, Liverpool going to be tough. Nah. They're just scraping through. They're beating teams 2-1, getting a win here, get conceding goals here. And then even last season, like, they conceded 2 at Anfield, conceded here. And that is what happens at home. Now, what we want when you go to the Emirates, what I don't want is a team like Aston Villa, a team like Manchester United, or forget about Manchester United, another team that's pretty good, like, right, going in their team. So look, they will give you an opportunity. Keep it tight. They will give you an opportunity. We're going to ride our luck a little bit, but they will give you a chance. They go too gung-ho at times and whatever. And listen, 9 goals in 2 games. I know people that go, well, 5 against Bolton, but it is 9 goals in 2 games. So we are entertaining. It was a great game of football yesterday, by the way, boys. Like, did I get my money's worth? Hell, I did. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. But do I want games like that from a coaching side of it and all that? No, as a fan, yeah, bring them on every week. But we had games like that. Do you remember when we beat Bournemouth 3-2? You know what I mean? Like
last minute.
Eventually get Southampton 3-3. If you will, eventually you will get caught out, and we'll end up going, do you know what? We drew that at Fulham last season, 2-2 with 10 men. You know what I mean? Like, don't get into those habits. Don't make it, you know what I mean? I want them to go in there at the end of the game, throwing, maybe even punching each other or putting each other up on the pegs, because we've conceded a goal. Do not concede a goal, particularly at home. Now, it's great that you've got all of this wonderful defending when we're away from home, because that's the way we play. We're compact. Everybody's defending properly and making sure they're concentrated, fist pumping everybody when they get a thing and all that. Love it. But do that at home and all. Make sure that you're rock solid at home. Because you want everybody to come here going, God, we've got the Emirates tomorrow. They don't give you nothing, not a thing. The best thing we can get out of this is a corner, and that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's not being critical. It's just I want us to be ruthless. I want our own. If you don't concede goals at home, you might think this is silly, Dan, but if you don't concede goals at home, you will be unbeaten at home. Right, if we are going to win this league, we have to be unbeaten at home. Win 16 of those games, draw 2. You know what I mean? That's the sort of thing we got to do. We've got to be ruthless. You know what I mean? Because you will get caught out away from home. We had a fantastic away record last season, but we did lose for 3 or 4 games away from home. It will happen, and that is it. Get it in you, clean sheets. It gives you the freedom then to go forward a little bit more. But look, I get we're open a little bit, and we do. They had 3 chances. Leicester scored 2 in 25% possession. You know what I mean? So we've got 75% possession, and we're only getting 4. That's what I'm saying. Don't let it happen,
Facts. Look, we're in a position where we go into every game at the moment believing that with the defence we've got an opportunity of picking up 3 points. And I think even yesterday, if I'm truly honest, I was a little bit nervy. But at the end, you look at the game and think, we never should have lost that game. We were great. But we did concede goals, and we conceded sloppy goals. And I've got to say that although I think the second one's a worldie, the first one weren't great. Now, look, Adi, I'll come to you. I do feel like there's the opportunity for us to do very well this season again. But I do also think that at home, we've got to make that place a fortress, because we've got some home games coming up now, which, let's be real, is going to take us to the end of the whole of October. And that Emirates has got to be rocking and be a fortress. I can't go into those games, though, believing we're going to concede goals. And I can't put my house that we're not going to at home. I actually have more faith in keeping clean sheets away. Now, that might do good in the long run of Champions League, but I can actually think of last season. I think the away games of last season, we were pretty all right. But home, we look and we think, actually, there was a lot there. Yeah, the West Ham, the Villa, even the Bayern Munich at home, I thought we were poor, if I'm honest with you, conceding goals that we shouldn't have. So I don't know what you think of it, and if you think there's something we're not doing that's different or something that we need to be doing that we aren't. But I want to be seeing clean sheets at the Emirates as well as away from home.
Well, the way I look at it is when you go away from home and we compact, we make it difficult for teams. That's when teams end up forcing errors, and we're able to, go on and beat teams 2-1, 2-3 0 sometimes away from home, because our game management is so much better. And obviously, when teams are playing in front of their home crowd, they don't want to be sitting off like teams do at the Emirates. At home, you want to be, on the front foot, and you want to be blowing these teams away. Now, and I spoke to both of you about it, and yesterday, I'm not going to lie to you, I weren't very happy. I wasn't very happy the way it all ended up. 37 shots, 17 on target. And we're 2-2 at 92 minutes. It shouldn't be that way. And the problem, so this is the way I look at it, right? We're bringing on a 17-year-old, not because we need to give him minutes, because we're bringing him on because we need something to change, and that shouldn't be happening. The way I see it at the end of the day, and I've watched a few shows since yesterday, and a few chats and stuff, and I might even get pelters in this one. But at the end of the day, if that's Haaland in front of those chances, he's scoring 4 or 5. We can talk about the goalkeeper having a worldie. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, he had a great game for him. But if you actually look at the shots he saved, a lot of them were all virtually within a metre square of him, weren't they? They were all more sort of reaction saves, weren't they? They weren't like absolute where he's, his head in top corner and he's got to scramble across his goal and get a finger to it. We should not be in a position at home where we are chasing games. Now the difference is teams come. I mean, look, we talked about City last week, where we've stuck everyone behind the ball with 10 men. Now they basically did the same, but they had 11. And the difference with having that extra man, and we go hunting for the game. You know, we then leave gaps. And there were times yesterday where I've always said it, our screen is so important for our backline, but our backline were getting overran a couple of times. And I know they didn't have many strikes on goal, but there were times where a better team would have picked us off. And I do worry. And I said last week on last week's podcast, I'd rather be playing away because we just seem to manage games a lot better away from home. And having looked at a lot of chats and some of the podcasts that I've watched, I think a lot of people will agree with me. These are the sort of games where a world-class striker puts the game to bed at half time.
Yeah.
And then we haven't got to worry about, you know.
I didn't want to bring it up again because a lot of people say, "Oh, here he goes again, striker needed."
I know. It's difficult, but we draw that game. What's everyone saying?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, Havertz is going to get 17, 20 goals this season. But I had a chat with Lee earlier on, and it's not about that fact that we need a world-class striker to win you these football matches. You know, the ones against Leicester's and the Southamptons of the world, you know, where they will come and make it difficult for us to beat them. But it's the games against City, the games against Liverpool, games against, you know, even Spurs at home, because it's difficult playing at the Emirates, isn't it? Where it's one or two chances that, you know, the fine margins that we always talk about is, are we going to take those chances? Now on yesterday's display, that tells me no. So I'm not. I might be a bit doom and gloom, but I've had every emotion under the sun trying to analyse it a little bit. I watched the game. You know, Leicester did what we did to City last week. You know, when we were trying to get the winner. And let's be honest, you know, it's a lucky winner, isn't it? You know, it's an own goal. But again, these are the sort of games that you probably should be having around about sort of March time, where the squad's a little bit, you know, stretched, a little bit more tired, and we're only 5 games into Premier League. It worried me a little bit, but I know I shouldn't be worried about it. But I do agree. I think at home we don't manage games as well as we do away. We tend to let. You know, what I'd like to see is, all right, it might be a bit boring, is go 2-0 up like we did, and then just shut up shop for 20 minutes and make them, because at the end of the day, they've got to come at us to try and get something out of a game because they're 2-0 down, and then, you know, pick them off then. But there were too many chances yesterday that should have been buried and weren't. You know, it's a difficult one because we've won the game, and don't get my brother was there. He's got a season ticket this year. And he's got on the phone to me afterwards, go, "Oh, that's so good." Like, you know, of course it is, because it's euphoria that we've won it in the last sort of, you know, 5 minutes of the game. But like the thing is, what you've got to realise as well, and Lee's played in these games, I have. Yes, they're fantastic games. You walk off, but it takes a lot out of your squad, you know. And if we're having 4 or 5 of those games a season, you know, I don't want that. What I want is the games dead and buried where we're using our squad, where we can rest big players, rather than having to keep them on a pitch. Because, you know, I don't know about you, but at midweek and I see Saka playing, I'm like, what the freaking hell's he doing? Because we all know that Saka burns out the last sort of, you know, end of March to the end of the season. He's not as effective because he's played too many minutes, you know. And
yeah, I think, look, I was a bit shocked on Wednesday to see Saka starting, but then you look back and you think, why would you be? Like, one, he plays him all the time, and so he played a one half against City and come off. But look, I wanted to look at just quickly, because I didn't think Kai Havertz was that great yesterday. I've got to say, I didn't look at Kai Havertz's performance and think, wow, he certainly played well in other games this season. I'm looking at his stats now. He's played 6 games. He's got 3 goals. He's got 1 assist. So he's got 4 GA in 6. Sesko's got 4 GA in 5, and Gyökeres has got 11 GA in 7. He's on absolute fire, but apparently we don't need him. Anyway, but look, I will say that I think a striker is in those sort of moments is going to be mentioned. We did win the game. I wanted to touch quickly on Lee, our left-hand side, because Calafiori and Martinelli, I thought both had a good game, if I'm honest with you. Martinelli should have scored in the first half. It was an awful shot, if I'm honest. He ballooned it over. But then he did obviously get his goal. I thought he played a lot better. Calafiori, quite lucky to be on the pitch, maybe, if I'm honest. I looked at the second yellow. Yeah, I've seen them given before, to be honest. Yeah, likewise, I agree with that, AD. But I thought his performance was pretty good. What have you made of those two together? Because I've been quite a fan now against both City and obviously Leicester, Lee.
Yeah, it's just been no coincidence that since Calafiori's come onto the left-hand side, Martinez got better because simple fact is it's balanced. When Timber's in there, he's on his right foot. He goes inside. It's natural to do that. But when you got Calafiori, he lets it come across his body because that's natural for him. So he can use his left foot, gets it out a lot quicker to Martinelli. And if you have a look back at games, it's probably Gabriel's the one that's trying to feed Martinelli, and it's a 20-30 yard pass instead of a nice 10-15 yard pass. It's a lot quicker, and we're getting him on the ball. With Martinelli, his first shot, was a bad one. He then scores with a good finish. He then gets another chance. He makes the goalkeeper save. So it's a confidence thing, Dan, with him. Now he's got his goal. If he'd have scored that first one, I think you'd have got hat-trick. Or certainly would have made the keeper work. But that's twice now he's gone through one-on-ones and not made the keeper work. As soon as he scored, the next chance he gets, bang. He's got the keeper working, and also I don't think you can take away from his assist as well. That was a good assist for Trossard. Great finish by the way, but he gets to the byline, puts it across. So he's now got a couple of assists in his last couple of games as well as a goal. But that goal was much needed. Calafiori, I think, gives us that opening up option. I think he's done very, very well. Listen, the referee, I think could have. I thought he'd done all right, the referee, and I'll tell you why I felt he'd done all right, because he could have booked their number 10 for a pullback on Saka. He didn't. He could have done with Skip. I think that he let a few things go. So when there were yellow cards, players on yellow cards, he had room to move, a room to let a couple of players off and all that. So, and at the end of the day, it is funny when you get the manager turning around and going, "Oh yeah, Calafiori should have been sent off." I didn't hear him say, "Yeah, but so should have Skip." But he should have been Skip could have been sent off in the first half, and certainly he's already been booked. And when he does that one on Saka, so I didn't think the ref was too bad. If I'd be really honest, he ain't good enough. The ref wasn't good enough. It was a poor performance from him. But that's what we get from referees now, But I tell you what, he was poor, but he was consistently poor. Let's put it that way. But but for me, Martinelli done really well. I think with Havertz, I think he was, if I be really honest, I didn't think it was one of his better games, but he's still, what I don't like about Havertz or the role of it is we're 2-2, Dan, and there I see him in our midfield collecting the ball,
I get it.
And he's on the right hand side, contributing on the right hand side with little neat 1-2s and all that. Get in the box and make things happen. Is my fit, which is what a proper striker would do. But he's not a proper striker. He's one of these false ones that comes in, wants to get him in with a play. I'd love to sit down with him and say to him, out of 10, what is it for you scoring a goal? He'd probably go 8 out of 10. On the scale. What's it like for you when you to assist? I think he'd say it's even. I think he gets as much satisfaction out of scoring as he does assisting. You know what I mean? I don't think Ian Wright did. I don't think a proper goal scorer does. You know what I mean? Dennis Bergkamp may have got the same sort of thing of it, but he wasn't an actual goal scorer. Do you know what I'm saying? Haaland, Haaland, I don't think cares about an assist. It's all about goals, and he's a completely different player, but he does settle in with our play, makes it what's the word I'm looking for? He knits it all up for us. But in games,
do you think this is a fair statement? I think this is important. Sorry to cut you, Lee.
Go on.
Do you think that this is a fair statement? Maybe the first bit isn't, but the latter, I get where he's coming from here. Yeah. Havertz is average, made good by the whole team being good. Just like we upgraded on Zinchenko, we'll have to sooner or later upgrade on our strikers. Now, I'm not saying we need to get rid of Havertz and get rid of Jesus and all this, but what I'm saying is we definitely have outgrown Zinchenko and Jesus, who I thought was really poor on Wednesday, by the way, in parts of the game. Zinchenko, I don't like him defensively. Manchester City outgrew him, got rid of him. To us, we were going for top 4. We're no longer going for top 4. We're going for title. I feel like we've outgrown both Zinchenko and Jesus. Do you think we might get to a point where we outgrow Havertz as our number 9 and we might go and get a striker? I'm not saying we get rid of him. We might keep him in the squad because I think he is a squad player. Do you not think that could be potentially?
I think it's very, very difficult because I think that he knits us all together. If take him out of that team, we're not as good. Jesus, when Jesus plays up front now, we go, we ain't so good. We ain't so good. Why is that? Because when we're used to Havertz coming there and making things happen, and he does hold the ball up, he does bring other players into play. I think he's very, very important in that. He also does a lot of dirty work in there. I don't think people appreciate, But what he isn't, Dan, he's not a killer. He's not a killer. Listen, that overhead kick, that first touch for that overhead kick, there's not many players that can do that.
Yeah, that's technique. That was
technique. But when you've got into that position, Dennis Bergkamp could do that, and then Dennis Bergkamp could finish. That's the difference. He's got to, when he gets it, I'll go back to the genius work he done against Brighton to get into the position for the one-on-one. You know what I mean? Everybody goes, he's got to score the goal. But his genius got him there, but then he must finish it. Yeah. I remember the one in the Euros. It was probably the most sublime touch of the world.
Yeah.
And then he's through one-on-one, dinks it over. You've got to score it, Kai. You know what I mean? So that's where I think that when you say we need someone as a finisher, I'm with Adrian. I think he'll get 15, 20 goals this season, right? But is that enough when you for that killer position? What you want is someone to do what he does and score the goals.
For me, Lee, it's important goals. The ones that matter. You know what I'm saying? Him scoring a 1-0 against City or something like that, where they have one or two chances a game. Havertz. I mean, if you look, if you're going to go with Havertz regarding if we're going to play more of a defensive structure and frustrate teams, he's brilliant at it, isn't he? Away from home against big sides, he's fantastic at it. He puts himself about. He's strong. He holds the ball up well, but as a striker, as a world-class striker, let's be honest, Arsenal have had over the years. It's like yesterday's game wouldn't have been like that, would it? If we had a world-class striker, and it would have been 4 or 5 first half, and could have been even more the second half. Look, I might be being a bit doom and gloom, and I saw one of the things come on the chat about keeping clean sheets, but and they were right. It was a deflected off the free kick, and then it was a worldie. But it's not us stopping teams from scoring that worries me. It's when teams come to the Emirates and block out like they did yesterday, and they've been lucky because they've got back to 2-2. It's not those games I'm worried about, because we're at a point now where we are. Yeah, I think we are going to win the game, and everyone, even I was sitting watching it yesterday with Farben, I was like, you'll score, and we did. But it's the games that are really tight, that where your main striker, it's like playing with, Richie Howard, for instance. You play games, and it's like for St Margaret's, when I played at Potter's Bar with him, it's like games against the top sides in the leagues that we were in. It's like 0-0s, 1-1s, and then bang, one chance, one goal, you win it 2-1. It's
that's the point, Ade. But let's football change now. Let's be honest now. Football change. We'll bring Dan into this as well. Would you be happy, right, if Dennis Bergkamp was playing up as the lone striker? Now, because don't forget, Dennis played off of someone. Now, Kai Havertz might be a fantastic foil for someone like Victor Concede, you know what I mean? As playing, but football's not like that so much now, is it? With the striker. So you're now saying, right, you've got to play Dennis Bergkamp as the false 9 or whatever, you know what I mean? Would he be as would we be as critical with his finishing? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different game now. Like, I think if going back into 10 years ago.
Oh, Lee, let me stop you there. Sorry. Spinning on his head. We're talking about Dennis Bergkamp, one of the greatest Arsenal players, Premier League players I've ever seen. She's going to talk about spinning on his head. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer because he's so much more Dennis Bergkamp. Can Kai Havertz score the goals that Dennis Bergkamp could?
No, I'm not saying that. My point being is...
You can't stick Dennis Bergkamp up front all day long over Kai Havertz. No,
what I'm saying is, Dennis Bergkamp was fantastic because he had Ian Wright as a partner, Henry. It was a partnership.
Of course.
Football's changed now where you've got to be a Dennis Bergkamp and an Ian Wright in one. It's a lot, I never thought that Dennis Bergkamp was ruthless as a striker, like, you know what I mean? I think if you would say to him, like, I won't say a criticism of that, like, or a weakness of him, like, he wasn't a lethal goal. But in saying that, in 98, he scored, was it 98? I think he scored a lot of goals, you know what I mean? Like, for us, like, But what I'm saying is, I think that,
well, look,
Havertz is a little bit of a worry for me because he's not really the generation that he's in. If he was like 10 years ago, I think he'd be like a Van Persie or whatever. Like, that's what he's got to get. Like Van Persie was like very much like Dennis Bergkamp as we first come into it, and Havertz reminds me a lot of Havertz the way Van Persie played, and then he was transformed, wasn't he, into this goal scoring machine. Now I'll ask you a question. When he put Van Persie up front, did you think he would score the goals that he was going to score? Because I didn't, but he was made to do it. Now, I think at times, the way we play, maybe we've got to say to Kai, forget about coming out here, forget that, get in there and score. You've got to be scoring goals. I'm so delighted that he scored yesterday because he is the one that's got to get the goals. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think that at times...
I don't think he's going to be anything like Van Persie or Bergkamp.
No, I don't think it's because he's not got that ruthlessness.
No, Lee, we've got our own Dennis Bergkamp and Ian Odegaard for creating chances for goals. Imagine we had someone who could break the lines up front. Where you've got your wingers in Saka, Martinelli, or whoever plays out there. Supporting the front man. But we haven't got that player that's up. Havertz isn't the sort of player who's going to break the lines, is he? And go over,
I don't know what Havertz's best position is. It's true what someone just said there about Van Persie. Caps is saying Van Persie played in different positions. I never ever imagined. When Van Persie come to the team, I always imagined him to be Dennis Bergkamp's replacement. You know what I mean? Like, never going to be as good as him, but that sort of same role. But he transformed into this striker. I don't know if...
Yeah, but Havertz, how old's Havertz now?
Willingness to do that with him.
How old's Havertz now?
25.
25. Van Persie came in as a youngster and he's learning off the likes of Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, these big strikers where he had to wait some years before he even broke into the side, didn't he? So, and also Van Persie had a left foot to die for. If I was to say to you, has Havertz got that 1 foot that's going to get you out, going to score you a worldie, he hasn't really got that. Havertz is a completely different player. He's a hold up strong player, and he brings players into the game. Is he? Look. I'm a big fan of Havertz because whenever our midfield's scoring, he is always involved in the goals that we score because he's like you say, he knits it all together. But it's he should have had a lot more goals yesterday. And I know
Aidy's not as someone saying in the chat. He's swapping with Trossard all the time.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's all right saying, Carl, you got to come and score these goals. He's not having a defined role. You're not saying to him, right, stay up there and score goals. I don't know if he can do that because he doesn't do that. He drifts here, he drifts there. players coming into different positions and all that.
That's why
We
I
don't
think
play
we
that.
need a striker on top of what Kai Havertz is. So I know
So
what
it's
you're
different.
saying, Lee. You're saying Kai Havertz is great at this. Can he be great at that? My answer to that is I don't think he will be. Therefore, I think we need a killer and Kai Havertz. Maybe not both at the same team. Maybe they can play for half hour together. But for me, that's why I'm looking at an Isak or a Gyökeres coming in on top of Kai Havertz. And people that think I say we need a striker, I don't mean we get rid of Havertz.
No,
because
yeah,
I
no,
think
I
he's a
agree.
great squad player. But for me, I think you've got what Havertz brings, but we need something else, and that something else is a killer. Because like you've mentioned names like Ian Wright, Robin van Persie, I don't think that he's anywhere near the finishing of those two players. I think he brings a lot to the game, and I know my mum and me always argue back. My mum thinks he's rubbish. I don't think he's rubbish. I think he's a good player, and I think he's been great for us. What I will say about it though is I don't think I will ever look at Kai Havertz running through on goal, going putting my house on that. That's a goal. I
No,
always think, please
and,
put it in.
and
Please
never,
don't miss. Please don't miss.
100%.
You know what I
100%.
mean? And I don't think I ever will. And maybe that's harsh, but I just got to be truthful.
Dan, I agree with that. Like when he's one-on-one, it's like Werner, isn't it? When he goes through one-on-one today, he ain't scoring. Like, you know
that
what I mean?
was funny. That
Right.
that was funny.
oh,
But
we were having such a laugh about
it's unreal. You just know he's not good. I'm with you on that. When Havertz is going through, I'm not confident. I'll be more confident if Martinelli's going through. Do you know what I'm saying? Like now, if Bergkamp's going through on one-on-one, you knew he was going to score. Van Persie, I'm just going off my head at the Chelsea game when he's going through, like, do you remember when John Terry slips? I know he's going to score.
Yeah.
I get that. I get what we're saying here, like, you know what I mean? He hasn't got that in his locker, like, So it's I think someone said in it, the way that Havertz plays is the tactics of Arteta. That's the way he plays the game. So he's perfect in the Mikel Arteta. Right now, you bring in Gyökeres, it might not suit the way we play. I don't think when Jesus is coming in now, it doesn't really suit us the way we play. Not the Jesus after his knee injury. Do you know what I mean? Before his knee injury, when Jesus went 5, I think it even might have been 10 games without scoring, but no one was moaning about his goal scoring because we were scoring from all over the place before he got injured. I think that we're down that road with Havertz. You know what I mean? I don't know, like, you know what I mean? So I'm with you on this. I think that if we are going to go and be champions and going into the Champions League, I do think that we need to get a killer, a striker. I do think we need that, like, as well as what we've got with Havertz. I agree. I agree.
The thing is, forward.
He's never going to get 4 goals in a game, is he?
No. The thing is, the way we play football now, we play with 3 forwards, and that is Saka, Martinelli, and Havertz. They're our 3 forwards.
Half gunner up yours. Thank you. Carry on.
They're our 3 forwards, aren't they? And if Saka and Martinelli aren't scoring, who is? Who's going to get you that goal that you need?
Gabriel, it seems.
Well, exactly. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I mean, we are always going to score from set pieces because we're bloody good at it. But set pieces were a prime example against Tottenham. We haven't really created much. We haven't really made many chances in the game, but we've scored from a set piece. But you can't rely on set pieces all the time. It's not, football isn't played for set pieces, is it? And we're talking about Martinelli and the fact that he's got, there's 3 pieces of a puzzle down that left-hand side. It looks like there's two are in, and we just need that one more. And hopefully Marino comes in and does, the Xhaka role for Martinelli, so he starts scoring as well. Because when you've got a front man who, like you say, he suits the way Mikel Arteta plays, and like you hit the nail on the head. When the other 2 are scoring around him, you don't even think about it because we're winning football matches. I think at the end of the day, we've got to remember we ain't won nothing. We've pushed winning the Premier League, but we haven't won it. We haven't won a cup. We've not won anything. And the difference is we're in a league where we're up against a City team that are so dominant that, like you say, we have to be turning these 1-1s or 0-0s against the big sides at home into wins, and he also away from home. I mean, I go back to the City game last year. We drew 0-0, wasn't it? You know, there was a chance. We had 2 chances in that game, but you know, you score those, you win the Premier League. And that's the fine margins of the league we're in. You know, back in the Dennis Bergkamp era, there's only 2 teams in it, and that was us and United. There weren't any other sides really in it. You know,
I get that. Listen, you know, the one thing I will say about this: if we go and beat Southampton 3 or 4-0 next week, this is just
which we should,
which we can do. That just says like this is just a one-off, like, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nothing to worry about. We're all getting our knickers in the twist for no reason, like. So we'll have to wait and see what happens next week. Like, that's
I'm not worried, Lee. I'm pleased. I'm not.
No, I am a little bit. But you know, we'll see.
I'm not too worried, and I said that this would be the real test for us now in terms of the next few games at the Emirates to blitz some teams, and I still feel that the goals will come. I'm not worried. We did score 4 yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So we're not like we scraped across the line 1-0 last minute. For me, it's going to be interesting for sure. I wanted to just literally touch before we do close because we have run over, but I wanted to quickly touch. You all know Don quite well from my show. Big Chelsea fan, likes to talk. He is convinced that Cole Palmer is better than Bukayo Saka. I wanted to genuinely talk about it very quickly because there is a lot of talk on Cole Palmer. I think he is an absolute elite baller. I've got to say that. I think he is a top talent. I cannot believe for the life of me that Pep let this guy go for the likes of Doku, Grealish, Nunez, all these guys, right? But the reason exactly. The reason I'll say that I'm sticking by Saka, and I'm not saying that Cole Palmer can't be better and can't one day take over from Saka, but I kind of feel like I've seen more of Saka on a consistent basis, and it's the wrong time to be comparing the two. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it because I've tried to look at it sensibly with Don. Don is absolutely adamant that Palmer is better than Saka, and now because he scored 4 goals, he's telling me, "I told you so. I told you so." So let me come to you both. I don't mind you guys first on this one. Like, what are you saying?
Not bothered.
I know I'm not bothered either, but I just want to genuinely discuss.
That's a great thing. I'm not bothered, but I think they're different players. If I'll be really honest, they're different players. I don't see Saka scoring.
Who now play different positions, by the way.
Huh?
Who now play different positions?
Yeah, they do
play right wing.
No, he's a different player. I've got to say, I think that Palmer's a wonderful player.
So
wonderful player. Wonderful player. I personally, I don't think Saka will get 4 goals. As I said, I don't think Havertz will score 4 goals. Different sort of styles and whatever. He's more relied on to do that. But, you know, I think that Cole Palmer will get more goals than Saka. I don't think he'll get more assists. But also, he's playing in a team at the moment that's not built around stopping Chelsea at this moment in time. That will come as the better Chelsea get at the moment.
Did you see the game?
Yeah, like the Saka doesn't get that room, doesn't get that freedom, doesn't get to never allowed to run free. He's always got players on him. That will come with Palmer, because I think in the first season when Saka played, he got a little bit more freedom that he's getting now, like, you know. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not into this thing about comparing play. Why are you comparing with Saka?
Do you want me to tell you why? Do you want me to tell you why? I'll tell you why. Look, he must be the benchmark, Saka, because everyone gets paired to this kid.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Foden gets compared to him. Kudus gets compared to him. Palmer gets compared to him. There weren't long ago, Bowen was getting compared to him. Eze getting compared to Elise everyone's compared to Saka. Why don't we compare Palmer with Salah? Why don't we compare Kudus with Palmer? Why don't we compare somebody like, let's say, Luis Diaz with Kudus? Why is it always Saka? I'll tell you why. It's because he's the benchmark. He must be.
And I think the more, and I don't mean to push Saka out of this thing, the more the comparison is Foden and Palmer. That's the more
exactly. And Foden and Bellingham, but it's always Saka.
And if Pep decided which one he thought was better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll put a poll in the chat. It's gone 60-40 in Saka's favour. A lot of people are going to be.
It depends what you're comparing. You know, if you're going to compare to, it's like comparing, I don't know, Saka against I don't know who's played out wide right for Arsenal. I don't know an Overmars or something like that. I mean, it's just I don't know why people want to compare these players. I really don't get it. They're both English, which is bloody brilliant for us anyway for the national team. And Palmer's a completely different player. Palmer doesn't go down the right hand side and beat players, does he? He comes inside and he's a very good passer of the ball. But at the end of the day, they've only got one Cole Palmer. They ain't got anyone else. I mean, Chelsea. I was defending yesterday. I mean, you look on Sky Sports News on Soccer Saturday, and you got Sherwood going, "This is the worst game of football defensively I've ever seen." So if you're going to give Arsenal that amount of room, then probably Saka and the rest of the team score 5.
Exactly that. Exactly.
So at the end of the day, he's a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. Palmer is, and he's going to be even better as he gets old because he's a fabulous footballer. But I agree, Dan. I don't know why are we comparing it to Saka? Why not compare him against an Odegaard or someone like that plays a more similar role?
I just don't get it. It's like me going.
I don't know.
It's like me going, boys. Who do we think's better, Ben White or Bruno Guimaraes? It's like what? They play different positions. What are we talking about here? Like,
you've only got to look at the England team. Who's the one player that plays every game for England, apart from Harry Kane?
Yeah, and does play well. Let's be real, he's played very well. I mean, and this is the thing. Like,
I hope Palmer takes Saka's place so he can play. He can play the next 2 games.
Yeah, same.
They're both phenomenal players, aren't they?
They are. And do you know what? England are lucky because both of them. I'll be getting both of them in that team. Let me tell you that they're absolutely phenomenal. Look, we'll move because we have got PSG. Just quickly to touch on it, we'll do a show on it. Lee, thoughts on that one, quick? PSG.
Yeah, we've got to win the game because we're at home. Just a quick little thing about Calafiori, I know he's got this knee injury and all that. Let me tell you, people are saying he's got an ACL and he's got this and that. He wouldn't be having like a knee support like on if it was like one of those. You know what I mean? There'd be a brace on it and everything like that. I think it's just maybe tweaked a little ligament or something like. You know what I mean? I would never imagine that it's quite serious. Might be enough to keep him out for a week or so, but I don't think long term. So don't panic about that. And listen, I think we've got to put a performance in. I only made a great point earlier on. It would have been nice to get 2 or 3 up and rest a few players, but we haven't been able to do that for this game, so it's going to make it a little bit tougher. But we're at home, and I expect us to win, Dan. There you go.
I do as well. Absolutely. I'm with you. I'll be playing a very strong side as well because I think we need to beat them comfortably now that we drew at Atalanta. AD, you're 11 for PSG?
Well, I think he'll go with what he played against the start of the 11 against Leicester. That's what he'll play if all fit. So I agree with what you said. Dan, you said it yesterday. We've got it's kind of like Champions League with this new format. It's kind of like drifted by me a little bit, really. I don't know. It's like, it's a Champions League game. Normally, it's right, big Champions League game, big group game. But because of the format of it, it's because we're right at the start of it. It doesn't seem important, but actually, it is. We haven't won our first game. We're at home. PSG aren't going to park the bus as what most teams do when they come to the Emirates. So it should be a good game. But yeah, we need to turn them over. We need to get points on the board. We've only got 1, and if we draw, or God forbid we get a loss, then we're under pressure in that, and we don't really want to be under pressure in that as well as the Premier League. So it'll be the 11 that started the Leicester game. If California, if he's not fit, then I presume Timber comes over, and White, if fit, because he wasn't even in the squad yesterday, was he? We'll go into right back. I think a few of you said about Nwaneri starting. Give him a go on Tuesday night, but because Trossard's bagged a couple, I don't think he will. But we need to get a win and be a big statement beating PSG. They're a bloody good side. They might not have the Galacticos that they've had in the past, but they're still going to be tough to beat. But yeah, again, it's another chance for us to lay a marker down to the rest of Europe. That's
Absolute facts, and I think that's exactly what we've got to do. Listen, big ups to every single one of you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 40k, so please make sure that you do that. And please head over to myself as I'm on the way to 30k. Football's 12th man. Please go and give that a subscribe and a like as well, and check out the latest video on This Is London. Big up to Adi for coming up. Much appreciated, mate, for you coming on. And Lee, I'll let you see us out, bro.
Listen, have a good night tonight. I know Spurs won. It's disappointing.
I think anyone could have won. Good night, Q. That's so bad.
They could have that bad. But just have a little thought tonight as you hit your pillow tonight. There's a Man United fan having a good night. Terrible night's sleep.
I tell you, I'm having a terrible night's sleep. I'll tell you that right now.
Sleep well, everybody. Remember, Man United. Tinny Og, he won't be sleeping tonight. Have a good one.